I find that the accused person deliberately stabbed the deceased with the clear intention to cause him pain, suffering, and death. And after considering all these factors, I find that the only sentence to pass in this case is death, and therefore sentence the accused person to death as prescribed by the law.
Today, I'll tell you a story. One that started as a love story but ended in pain, loss, and regret. It's a story about Ruth Kamande, a young woman whose life took a shocking turn, and Farid Mohammed, a man whose life was tragically cut short. It's a story of emotions gone unchecked, of toxic love, and of lessons we can all learn from. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Ruth Wanjiru Kamande, who later became known as the Langata Prison Beauty Queen, was born in 1994 in Nairobi and grew up in Dandora. Ruth was known for her beauty and charm, and people often admired her confidence. But behind the smiles and the good looks, life was not perfect. As a young woman, Ruth worked hard to support herself. She was a hairdresser and later took a job as a salesperson at a telecommunication company. Her life seemed simple and ordinary, like that of many young women in Nairobi. But everything changed when she met Farid Mohammed. Farid was a smart and ambitious man. He had studied computer science at the University of Nairobi and worked as a data analyst. At a young age, he had already risen to the position of a supervisor. He was the kind of man many would call successful, and it wasn't surprising that Ruth fell for him. By 2015, Ruth and Farid were in a relationship. Things seemed to be going well, and they even decided to live together in Buruburu, a quiet neighborhood in Nairobi. From the outside, they looked like a happy couple, but things were far from perfect. Their relationship was full of arguments and tension. Friends and family say Ruth had trouble letting go even when the relationship started to fall apart. Farid's family, including his sister and uncle, tried to help them work through their issues, but nothing seemed to change. On September 20th, 2015, things took a turn for the worst. That morning, neighbors in Buruburu heard shouting from Farid and Ruth's house. It wasn't the first time the couple had argued, but this time, things sounded more serious. Then they heard Farid screaming for help. He shouted that he had been stabbed. Alarmed neighbors rushed to the house to help, but the door was locked. Through a window, they saw a horrifying scene. Farid lay bleeding on the floor, while Ruth stood nearby holding a knife. Farid had been stabbed 22 times. By the time help arrived, it was too late. Farid died from his injuries. The police came and Ruth was arrested on the spot. During her trial, Ruth claimed to have acted in self-defense. She said she had found out that Farid was HIV positive and that he had threatened her when she confronted him. But the court did not believe her story.
During sentencing, the court noted that the accused in her mitigation did not indicate that she acted out of anguish or despair, saying the accused acted with clear intention to cause the deceased pain, suffering, and death.
Medical tests showed that Farid was not HIV positive. Witnesses testified that Ruth's injuries were self-inflicted and that Farid had been sitting at his laptop when she attacked him from behind. The court ruled that Ruth had planned the attack, and in 2018, she was found guilty of murder. She was sentenced to death. While awaiting her trial at Langata Women's Prison, Ruth's story took an unexpected twist. In 2016, she entered the Miss Langata Prison Beauty Contest and she won. The win made headlines, and people across Kenya had mixed reactions. Some saw it as a sign that Ruth was changing and trying to rebuild her life, while others felt it was wrong to celebrate someone convicted of murder.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Miss Langata 2016, contestant number 5.
Oh my!
I was so surprised and shocked. I didn't know actually that I'm going to get this, and I thank God for it because of God's favor.
But Ruth didn't stop there. Even behind bars, she continued to work on herself. In November 2024, Ruth graduated with a law degree while serving her sentence at Kamiti Maximum Prison. The degree was made possible by an organization called Justice Defenders, which helps prisoners and wardens get legal education. On that day, Ruth stood alongside other inmates and wardens to celebrate a major achievement. It showed that even in the darkest places, people can strive for a better future.
But we are not only here to celebrate graduates from the University of London, but graduates who have successfully studied law behind bars. Graduates who are well transformed, rehabilitated, and reformed. Graduates whose stories have been rewritten, uniquely rewritten by all of you.
Ruth Kamende's story is a sad and powerful reminder of what can happen when emotions take control and when people stay in toxic relationships. Her actions not only ended a young man's life, but also changed hers forever. This true story teaches us the importance of controlling our anger and finding peaceful ways to solve problems. It shows us the dangers of staying in relationships where things are not healthy. Sometimes the best thing to do is walk away before it's too late.
I want young people to know that it is not cool to kill your boyfriend or girlfriend, even where you feel disappointed or frustrated. Don't do it. Instead, it is cool to walk away and thereafter to forgive.